What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel as well as on Twitch, so make sure you come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by My Music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and I do have a new song out recently called Don't Forget About Me, the Supernova version, so check it out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. All right, guys, we had our most recent town hall on June 19th, 2025. Crazy to think that we are approaching the midway point of 2025, but lots of exciting stuff. This town hall was a little bit shorter than usual. In fact, it didn't even hit an hour and a half. I think it was like an hour and 20, an hour and 19 minutes, if I remember the timestamp correctly. So there was some interesting stuff here. Nothing concrete in terms of like dates or what we can be expecting next. Although we already know what is coming down the pipeline. The main thing that they wanted to talk about, which they're hoping to have a better kind of like roadmap isn't the word, although I'm just going to use that for now, but a better roadmap next month so we can understand how all of these things are going to play out over the next couple of months, or we'll just say the rest of 2025. So these are the 5 biggest takeaways. This is not a summary, just the 5 things that stood out to me the most, but let's go ahead and dive right in. Number 1 is going to be these top 5 priorities for the rest of 2025. Now, this is not counting anything that has to do with land. In fact, Matt even mentioned, right, land is something that's ongoing and what Cryptomancer is working on. This doesn't include conflicts. This doesn't include the pickle or any of the other cards or any other things that are ongoing or consistent. These are the new areas that they want to focus on. I believe the team met post Conclave Arcana launch and said, what are the areas in which we should be focusing on? Let's come up with a list. Let's narrow it down. And I believe between now and the July town hall, right? So next month, we'll have a better idea of what exactly will be done. But these top 5 areas are going to be focusing primarily, once again, on new players. As Matt framed it, Conclave Arcana, survival mode, and land, like all of these things that the team had been working on the past couple of months, is technically for older players, like players that have been around. And I can understand the way that he's framed that. I think many of us were looking at Conclave Arcana as the set that could potentially bring in new players. And here's the thing, from a, to I guess, look at it through a different lens, it technically is, right? I mean, this is going to be on the shelves until March of next year, I believe. So there's plenty of time for new players to come in and buy up the cards, buy up the packs. But it was not something I guess the team was looking at the way that at least I was, and I'm sure many others, thinking that like the presale, for example, they were going to run a ton of promotions and a ton of marketing to aid that presale. And in fact, we didn't see that. A lot of us questioned it, but that is not the area, or that is not the focus in which they had. Now, moving forward, there are quite a few things, and obviously they did come out with campaign mode. They've come out with the foundation set. They've done some partnerships, right? So let's dive into the 5 areas in which they want to kind of focus in on over the next 6 months. So foundation format, which is going to be for new players, or basic format, I think is what it might be called. Now, this is going to be foundation cards only, and what it's going to allow is for new players, as soon as they're done with the campaign mode, instead of getting thrust into modern format or wild format or whatever it is, and being thrown to the wolves or the sharks, they're going to go into a foundation format where it's only going to be those cards, and they'll be able to level up their cards. We'll talk about that more later, but I believe that the cards are going to be, one of the other things that they're working on with the foundation set, right, is being able to have packs that you can buy using Glint, as well as level up the cards. And I believe they're not going to go all the way up to like level 10 for common cards, for example. I think Investigator mentioned that they're probably only going to go halfway. So it's going to be like, think of it as like a junior varsity league. I don't even know if there's going to be rewards there outside of Glint, but if there won't be, I think that's still fine, right? In fact, if anything, like, it'll allow people to just go and have like this free-to-play mode where they can get a full feel for the game. And then if they want to jump into the big leagues, they can. So foundation format is something that they want to bring in. There's a guild overhaul, which is something that I think the team's been talking about since 2022, right? With guild alliances that never really came in. But, Matt addressed this, saying that, guilds or any kind of like social structures within games are known to really keep people engaged, bring them in, and have them become a part of the ecosystem. I can say from my own experience, that was 100% the case. And I think for many others out there, it was the same for them. So them focusing on guilds is something that I think is long overdue. In fact, when I was talking about this in a previous video, I was saying that I wanted this to be an area of focus for them. So I'm glad that it is at the top of the list here, or at least in the top 5. Skins and cosmetics. I mean, we've heard about glamour for over a year now. So, and here's the thing. I know I say that with a little bit of like, meh, right? But at the same time, everything else that the team has been working on, I think definitely needed to take precedence. So I understand that they have a limited bandwidth. It's just we've heard this whole thing before with skins and cosmetics. I do hope that we get it. I do hope that we get it, though, because what I don't want is for cards to really be the only thing that people focus on. Now we have like black foils, arcanes, right? It would be cool to get some other ways in which people can reward themselves in the game, use their glint on stuff that doesn't necessarily make the meta crazier by adding in new cards, right? And increasing the cost, we'll call it, right? If people want to own all the cards from a collector's perspective, but allow them to buy things that just make their cards look cool, right? So I think if you just had glamour and allowed it to be purchased with glint, stuff like that, I think could be really fun. But that's kind of where my head is at on the skins and cosmetics. I'm glad that it's in the mix here. Number 4, quests and achievements. So what's interesting is that we have not had a daily quest or a daily focus for probably over a year at this point. I think it was in March of last year that they got rid of it. Yeah, so over a year. And if you're new to the game or you only joined within the last couple of weeks, I think what's interesting is that you'll see that this is a completely foreign concept, right? Even though for someone like myself that came in 2021 and anybody that came in before me, this was like a core part of the game. It just kind of like quietly disappeared because it no longer had any relevance once they moved to the new reward system, where you could go in and just have like a glint shop. But having some kind of quests, achievements, things that get people to come and check in the game every day, focus on different little things, I think that could be huge, right? Whether you're botting your account or not, you could, even though I'm botting my account primarily, I actually still check in on the game multiple times a day if I can, or if I'm traveling like I was, at least once a day just to see how things are going. And it would be fun to have like something to do with those quests or whatever the case is. So I think that having those as a way to teach people more about the ecosystem is fantastic. Matt mentioned like it could be something small as like providing liquidity on land or providing doing X, Y, and Z, whatever it is. But I think that could be fun. So I hope that they're able to get that in as something that not just new players can benefit from, but existing players as well. And then campaign mode expansion. Matt did drop the word or the term boss fights into this, saying that they wanted to really push this and really expand on it. So again, we don't really know what that looks like, but I haven't even played the campaign mode just because with travel. So that is something that I am going to jump into in the very near future, just to give my thoughts on it and to experience it as a player. But I would love to have a cool PvE mode that really immerses people into the world, that really gets them to understand the cards better, and then they can jump in and kind of do the free-for-all ranked battle plays if they really, really want to. So those are the top 5 priorities for the rest of the year. Again, there's no dates on this. There's not even like a structure in which, what we can expect. I think that's what the team is hoping to come out with next month or for the next town hall. So that's number 1. Let's leave that there for now. I think I already gave my commentary and analysis as we went along. So number 2, Conclave Arcana reward cards are another thing that they have in the mix. This is something Matt is expecting to come out in the next 3 to 4 months. So actually kind of exactly within the timeline I was expecting. I said by the end of the year, right? I would be shocked if they had pushed it to next year. And I was saying that I don't think that they're going to put it out in December, right? That's usually a time when they're trying to it's the holidays. People are kind of scaling back. I think the team's done a good job of doing, getting a bunch of stuff done before the holidays over the last couple of years, even though they've had to work through the holidays sometimes, but with all the work that they've put out this year, which is fantastic. So I want to make sure I call that out and give them credit for that. I think that once we get into that, we'll call it final 6 weeks of the year with Thanksgiving as well as, Christmas and December. My guess is that they want to get a lot of the major stuff out well before then. So this 3 to 4 months, if we're looking at this in mid-June, is like September, October-ish, right? Maybe dipping into November. So that's kind of in line with what I was expecting, and makes sense, right? The new set came out in May. So if you get the next set to come out 4 to 5 months later, that allows you to change up the meta in a dramatic way every, we'll call it 5 to 6 months, which I think is fair, right? So you put out a new set, you put out the reward cards, maybe you do a mini set early next year, if that makes sense. If not a mini set, then maybe the Hall of Legends promo style thing to really shake up the meta. And then my expectation would be another core set towards the end of 2026. But that's kind of getting outside the purview of point number 2. That's just the Conclave Arcana reward cards. So number 3, marketing. There were a bunch of things that Blaze listed off. Some of them were, some of them were impressive. Some of them were meh, right? Like, and again, sorry, I'm not trying to take a shot at Blaze. It's just the team hasn't really started marketing to know what is going to be effective and what's not going to be effective. And I'm going to do a separate video on this because you can see here I had the YGG partnership has been extended. So we've actually seen a decent amount of people coming in to check out the game. There has been a bump in spellbook purchases, but conversion is something that the team is still looking at in terms of trying to improve so that when people come into the game, they decide to stay in the game before they really turn on the jets when it comes to marketing. That being said, they have started running ads on X, on Instagram Reels, and on TikTok just to test some things out. I think I've even seen some people kind of screenshot the ads on X. So we'll see what that looks like. Hopefully the team is not throwing too much money at that and just trying to get a better idea. But there was a stat that Blaze put out that was, I guess, not really of surprise to me, but in terms of, again, it's just alchemy packs essentially making up 50% of the sales so far. And I believe all in all, we're like over $3 million on Conclave Arcana, right? Pre-sale as well as general sale. So alchemy packs are where it's at. I got to give a shout out to Walking Keys. He said those would be the most popular, and it seems like they very much are. So that's the update on marketing as of now. I know that I'm probably missing some stuff there. Like I said, Blaze had a bunch of stuff that he was talking about. I'm sure as we get closer to more things either coming out or in the mix, we'll get a little bit more detail on that. Number 4, and I guess this can be not necessarily marketing related, but I'll give a shout out here to Tails. I know that this is something he was working on with Dave and with Investigator, but there is going to be some kind of integration with Twitch is what it sounds like, where you will get benefits for watching the game, watching not the game, but streamers play the game on Twitch. And it's going to come in the form of like rewards or cards specifically, right? I think Breaking Benjamin was on and was talking about how I think he even had a name for it, like Arena Fanatic or something like that, where they wanted to have a card that you could only get by hitting certain milestones of watching and supporting Twitch content creators. So I think that's awesome. I mean, obviously I do a lot of my stuff here on YouTube, but whenever I do live stream, it is to YouTube as well as Twitch, and even X now recently. So being able to build out on that platform, hopefully they're able to do cool stuff like that across all platforms, just because I think Twitch is not the only one out there. But that is something that was mentioned as well and in the works. So again, no time frame for any of this, but it's all stuff that they want to get out before the end of the year. And then the last thing that I'll mention here, and this isn't even necessarily new. I'm just going to give a When Beaver shout out to all the people in the comments that were always commenting When Beaver. But it sounds like a land card is going to be in the works. Again, it's not new in the sense that if you've been listening to a lot of the interviews with Dave on all the various podcasts out there, Dave wants to do something with land. But now we have, I guess, somewhat confirmation between Dave and Matt on the town hall together saying, like, this is going to happen. In one way, shape, or form, it's going to happen where land is going to create a card for the game and be integrated even further. I've thrown out a bunch of ideas for that. I mean, I don't think, not that they need to take my ideas, but I like the idea of land contributing something outside of, potions and spells, or not potions and spells, items and spells. I don't know when that kind of integration is going to be coming into the game. My guess is that if they were to do items and spells, that probably wouldn't come in until the next major set launch, which would probably be like late 2026, maybe even into 2027. So there's a while until that happens, and I want to see land integrated much more than just doing aura, right, and potions, whether it's survival mode potions or whether it's the midnight potions. But I would love to see land become something that becomes much more integrated with the rest of the game. So hopefully we can get something like that excuse me, in the near future. So those are the main takeaways. Like I said, it was a shorter town hall. There's not too much else going on at the moment. But for those of you who have been missing my content and reaching out to me, checking in on me, I appreciate it. I am back now, you can see here. And my vacation is officially over. So at least for the next couple of weeks, the next month or so, I'm hanging out here. I'm trying to catch up on a bunch of stuff. And I do plan on streaming quite a bit more soon, just to be able to play the game more, just to be able to hang out with you guys more, and obviously get back to doing regular content, multiple videos per day. So keep an eye out for that. Appreciate you all and the patience, and hope you are enjoying your summer so far. But that is all I have for you guys in this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.